Gatekeeping bad. We all know somebody who gatekeeps, and some of us are probably guilty of gatekeeping ourselves. But what's the point? Gatekeeping can be defined as limiting access to who learns about a place or thing with the purpose of preventing it from going mainstream. In my previous video, I briefly touched on this subject. I mentioned that oftentimes, when something becomes trendy, it experiences a drop in quality and a raise in price. Businesses are inherently motivated to maximize profits and minimize expenses, after all. I use viral food spots and trendy fashion as my main examples. Part 1. The local economy. These drops in quality and increase in prices often end up screwing over the original customer base. Here in New York, things are already expensive as is. They're only getting more expensive. Being pushed out from your favorite neighborhood cafe because you can no longer justify the price for the quality given can leave you incredibly bitter, especially when that spot is in your local area. Can you imagine going to your favorite food spot, seeing a massive line for the first time, and watching the once affordable prices start to climb? Suddenly, you have to plan out when you go have your favorite meal without breaking the bank. It's the exact same thing with workwear becoming trendy. People who actually need work clothes, which are already expensive as is, but fully justified for the quality given, are now stuck watching it become a fashion trend. When you finally decide enough is enough, you obviously don't want a repeat of the same thing happening to your other favorite spots. So you start gatekeeping. This strategy helps protect your pocket, but it doesn't necessarily help that mom and pop shop. But this problem doesn't just stop at clothing brands or your local food spot. It scales up to the concrete you walk on. Part 2. The death of the neighborhood. The exact same cycle occurs when your neighborhood accidentally becomes a tourist attraction. Turning a local neighborhood into a tourist attraction ends up resulting in a climb in rent and locals getting completely priced out. A sudden influx of people who are not aware of the local customs leads to a severe watering down of the community's culture. Suddenly, the locals become the minority in their community, which permanently weakens their ability to enforce their local customs. Eventually, these foreign majorities completely rewrite the customs of that neighborhood. Non-essential trendy businesses end up replacing your essential stores, which leads you to have to travel further for your basic necessities. Now, obviously, everything isn't a melodrama. People aren't necessarily trying to colonize your neighborhood. Sometimes they just kind of gatekeep for that "I'm so different, I'm so special" ego boost. Like, they'll post a picture of the food that they're eating, but never talk about the location that they're getting the food from. They just want you to know that you don't know. Part 3. Music and TikTok. Beyond just food spots, music is probably one of the most gatekept cultures on earth. And according to my Spotify data, I listen to about 2,000 to 3,000 minutes of music a week. I have to constantly be listening to music. So whenever I'm not listening to music, just know I'm super locked in. I stumble across a lot of random songs because of that. But gatekeeping music just to stand out from the crowd is kind of lame. Gatekeeping an underground artist just so they don't go mainstream is genuinely really messed up. Why wouldn't you want the artists you like to experience success and financial stability? Sure, there's always the chance that they go mainstream and suddenly they sound like everybody else, but if you gatekeep them too hard, you also risk them just giving up on music since they can't pay the rent. TikTok, I hate to admit, has also introduced me to some incredible songs and artists. And I've been that elitist guy saying someone's taste is just TikTok music. But there's a distinct line there. TikTok obviously shows you what is currently trending. I remember seeing songs like Say So, Save Your Tears all over my TikTok feed. But the algorithm also tries to match niche creators with an audience. The more unique the creator is, the smaller their target audience will be. Getting put onto music that way is like searching through a catalog of genre until you find a song you like. But if your entire feed is just mainstream trends, take a moment and reflect. Are your interests entirely dependent on their popularity? If the answer is yes, you might be the reason people are gatekeeping. You would be part of the storm of locusts, just showing up, messing things up for the locals, and immediately jumping to the next field the second the trend dies. Part 4. Subcultural tourism and stolen valor. We're going there. This subcultural tourism is exactly what happened to the alternative scene. So let's do a quick throwback. Do you remember when alternative style wasn't so mainstream? Before having a goth girlfriend was highly desirable or trendy on social media. Those alternative people used to actually get ridiculed and bullied for that. But now that the aesthetic is trendy, suddenly everybody is goth. Or whatever, man. In my opinion, that's stolen valor. But don't take it that serious. It doesn't compare to actual stolen valor. I think it's a clear example of a subculture going mainstream in a way that actively ended up harming and insulting the original community, who actually got a ton of heat for living that lifestyle. Part 5. Pugs. To answer the original question, I don't think gatekeeping is inherently bad. It really just depends on how you go about it. Let people get the recognition they deserve, and when you discover a new thing, don't be a douche trying to force it to fit your standard. But when mainstream trends force a niche community or a neighborhood to fit its standards. That's how we end up with these inbred, deformed abominations. Pugs. These poor things can't even breathe right anymore because we bred out all their normal proportions for a cuter aesthetic. Your neighborhood, your music taste, and your style all start out as an original, healthy pug. But as they continue to feed into mainstream trends, they slowly get warped into the modern, deformed pug. It is completely unhealthy and it is entirely unmaintainable. So when everybody is playing follow the leader, pause and think a little if this trend actually reflects who you are. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you like hearing me ramble, I'm planning on posting once a week, and I appreciate you guys sticking around till the end of the video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to get a dash cam and wear your signal. Okay, bye.